Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Dolores Jones, the comeback coach, is here in effect. And as you can tell, I'm naked and not ashamed. That's right. So do me a favor, go ahead and click tag and share the video, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. This is why I do it, is because you keep coming back for more. So what we're going to talk about pretty quickly here, there's a new show on Netflix, and the show is called Love on the Spectrum. The show focuses on adults who are on the spectrum of autism and how to show them how to date and how to find love. And honestly, I'm hooked. I am hooked on this Netflix show because it just does it for me. And if you think about it, a lot of us have so many options out there. There's so much vying for our attention. And usually when a person is dealing with autistic behaviors or skill sets, sometimes they hone in on one particular thing. And I want to talk about how that really is a good thing. And I want to share with you some of the things that I learned. And I think maybe we can have this discussion. Thank you for all of those of you who've already joined me. Thank you, Beverly. Good to see you, Beverly. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. And yes, watch the show, Beverly. I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great to watch the show. And it's on Netflix. So go check it out. It's called Love on the Spectrum. Now, a lot of us feel like dating can be so complicated. You know, do you go online? Do you not go online? Listen. Some people feel like there's nobody else out there. I was talking to a relative and she says, you know, Dee, I was talking to my grandmother. She said, I think, you know, I've just come to the conclusion that you, me, and Ronnie, we're just, we're of a different breed. We're not cut out for marriage. And I thought, I don't feel that way. So sometimes you need to really look and find out where you're getting all this information from. And I thought, wow, but that is her reality, that we've been so independent that we have all of these requirements. So what we're going to do is I want to talk about that show, Love on the Spectrum. And one of my favorite characters his name is Michael. Now, Michael is highly intelligent because, as you know, people who have some form of autism, usually they have a gift too. I have relatives that are autistic. And he is so on it. Michael is so on it. And part of the challenge, though, is when he starts a conversation, if he's with someone who really doesn't want a lot of questions, like the young woman he went out on a date on the first episode, then that person shuts down and they leave. So it's learning, I don't want to call them quirks, but it's learning those things that bother you. Like some people don't like loud noises. Some people don't like the sun, but you have to figure, you know, the show invites people to just be themselves. And that's why I don't have any makeup on, because I just wanted to be myself. Okay. And then it's like, be myself so that I can really find true love. How many of you all just have, you know, like, I'm just done. There's no formula. But I tell you, if you watch this show, Love on the Spectrum on Netflix, it'll blow your mind. It will really blow your mind. Make sure you go ahead and like and share the video, please, and subscribe. So we were talking about Michael. Michael is highly intelligent. I mean, you wouldn't really know that he was on the spectrum, and that means some form of autism. Sometimes you can be autistic where you're deaf, where you're mute, and a lot of different things. And that's what I loved about the show. It showed adults as adults in this big old world that can be so complicated for most of us. But I venture to say, in situations where you can learn to compartmentalize, then you stand a greater chance of finding out what's the most important thing. So the most important thing that I picked up, and Michael summed it, he gave me 5 things that a woman needs. And I had to agree with him. I had to agree with him. He said those 5 things are love, respect, happiness, support, and security. And I'm like, exactly. But some people wouldn't go out with Michael because Michael doesn't function like everyone else. And so these differences in the show it's so refreshing. And so a lot of us go into the thing of, well, what do you do for a living? Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And for people who are on the autism spectrum, they're in the moment, right? They're in the moment. This is it. Let's can we go out today? Once that's done, do you want to see me again? And it's beautiful because there are other people on there, various people. I wish I could remember some of the names, but anyway, I'll know. I'll figure them out. And there's one young woman who is just, she's brilliant. She's brilliant. She can hold a conversation with you, but she is autistic. And there's a part where this one man who was autistic, he just like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. She could be the type of woman that I want to marry. And you're just like, okay, is she just going to jump into it? And she's like, no. She's like, there's no chemistry, there's no connection. This is a good friendship. So the guy was devastated because, you know, sometimes people are devastated when people reject them. But this is the key thing from this show. If you can remember that dating is about practice, like if you haven't found the one, then see these other experiences as preparation for the best relationship for you. So it doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It's just, this is not it for me. And now let me practice this. How do I handle rejection? How do I handle disappointment? But don't internalize it. The opposite happens for those of us that are like, okay, when I first meet him, let me see, does he have potential, not potential to be pole? Where does he want to live? You know, we start going through all this stuff. And if we're not careful, depending upon how we were brought up, our ideologies and various things like that. Okay, I hope it didn't freeze. Come on, baby. Come on, come on, come on. Our ideologies and things like that. Come on. It's not. No. How did it stop? I don't know. Oh, Lord. Okay. I think it's back. It's back. Okay. Sorry about that. But we want to know, you know, what's your credit report look like? And in this show, nobody's worried about credit reports. Everybody's worried about connections and communication and conversation. And you don't have to pretend to be somebody you're not. So that was so refreshing. I thought, this is it. I'm going to use these particular principles to go out and look for what love really is. And one of the characters, she defined the requirements of love. The 3 requirements for love are communication, honesty, and compromise. And so in the show, they're just honest. They don't have anything to lose. You know, it's like, okay, I'm here. You're going to tell me how to approach a woman, how to have this conversation with that person, and we'll see where it goes. That's it. Now, also on the show, there's a couple, and they're actually engaged. And it is, listen, the couple is my favorite. They're just my favorite. In fact, while I try to find the names of these people, I want you to go ahead and do me a favor. And yeah, here are the characters. I would love for you to go ahead and like this video and share it. It's called, we're talking about the show Love on the Spectrum. And what it is, it's finding love. You know, it can be hard for anyone, but in this particular experience, they're young adults on the autism spectrum, and they're exploring the unpredictable world of dating. And you already know it's complicated. But in this case, it's very different. It is very different. So the characters that I love, let me find them. This is it. I love this show. And I don't say that lightly. I do not say that loosely. I don't do a lot of TV. But in this case, I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. So you got Michael. And then the young woman that I'm talking about is it Becky? No. Let me find these people, y'all. Come on, let's go to the cast. I just want the cast. All right, let's just talk about the cast of Love Spectrum. Love on the Spectrum. Kind of like different degrees to love, right? Different degrees. I mean, it's a beautiful show. Come on, people. I just want your names, baby. That's all. That's all. I just want your names. Can I get your names? Can I get your names? Well, my name is Dolores Jones, the Comeback Coach. You can find me here, and I'm working on what days I'm going to be here with you for new great conversation. Don't you want that? I want to figure things out. I don't want to have to bump my head with learning about things that some people already know that they can just pass along to me. I think that's a great thing, but we have to be open. And so that's one of the things about this show, Love on the Spectrum. It's filmed in Australia, which I wonder what it would look like if it was here in the United States. That's different. You know, sometimes we just different flavors, different places, different people. So let me find my characters. Everybody's so beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. Can y'all just give me the names? Honey, can y'all just give me the names? Okay, so Michael was the one I told you. He gave us the 5 things that every man needs to know that a woman needs. Those 5 things are love, respect, happiness, support, and security. One of the things he said on one of the episodes that made me laugh, he said, you know, people today aren't worried about commitment. They're worried about intercourse. I mean, he just like put it out there and they're like, I can't believe that you just said that. That's the other thing about it. You know, that people who are dealing with certain things like autism, they don't have time to fake the phone. They just don't. And a lot of us, you know, we're just not honest. People are like, okay, yeah. But dating is different. It's so different. So my girl, I'm trying to find my girl. Let me find my girl because each of them has a name. Y'all need to check it out. Go Google Love on the Spectrum. This is a good movie, a good series. It is a great series. I'm telling you, it is so good. So you got Michael, and then who do you have? This is, you know, the internet will embarrass you sometimes, but because I'm talking to wonderful people, I just know that you're going to stay right there with me. I do. I already know that. I know that you're going to stay right here with me, and we're going to talk about the cast of people and their names. Okay. All right. Let's meet the class. Okay. So there's Michael. That's the one who's very, very intelligent. He's very intelligent. He's 25 years old. He hates being single. He thinks the ultimate thing, his life will be complete when he has a woman to call his wife that he can take care of. That's all he wants. That's all he wants. That's all he thinks about is finding that woman. And just based upon how he's attentive on the show, I'm just like, wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hey there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm glad that you're here. So then you have Chloe. Now, Chloe, she's deaf, but she can speak and she can sign. And Chloe is 19 years old, and she is actually more what they would call fluid. So she is dating people of various genders. She's trying to figure that out for herself. And in one of the episodes, she has found a connection with another woman. So it's just very, and then you have Kelvin. Kelvin is an Asian young man. He's about 20 years old, and he had never gone on his first date. Now, all of these people really primarily are going on their first date. And so they have an expert, a relationship expert, who tells them, like, what would you do? So there's a part where Kelvin, she says, well, how will you, greet her? And he's like, hi. And she says, okay, so what did she do? Sit down? And he like kept sitting, and he was like, like grab a chair. So his father, they were talking, no, you want to pull the chair out and say, have a seat, So, and he's very, very afraid. His dad wants him to find a girlfriend, and well, he wants somebody that's different and they smell nice. Okay, Maddi. So Maddi is the one who I know she's on a high level of functioning. And so she had never had a romantic relationship or feelings. And so part of it is she doesn't even know if she can have feelings. You ever thought about that? Because certain things give it away, like certain looks. It's just interesting. So she wants a man who was tall, blonde, green eyes, and ripped. And maybe she's looking for for somebody that named Chris Hemsworth, maybe that. Okay, and then you have Olivia. Olivia is engaged to, no, you have Olivia's not engaged. What is Olivia? Olivia. Olivia. Olivia, she, she just happened to find somebody. She wants somebody that loves her for her, deserves love. She says, just like everyone else, she deserves love like everybody else. And so the fact that they deal with autism, they're saying, I still can find love. Love is important to me as well as it is to anybody else in this complicated world. So let me get to this couple that is actually engaged, and I think they are lovely. Ruth and Thomas. So Ruth is 22 and Thomas is 25. And Thomas took a job as a bus driver, and that's how he met Ruth, which is a beautiful story. And so they're devoted, and Thomas loves, his job, and that's how he met Ruth. Now, here's the thing about Ruth. Ruth has to, when she is struggling, she has a small snake that she had. It's a real snake. And like the other day, she had it on her glasses. Now, for some people, that would freak you out, now wouldn't it? But for her man, Thomas, it doesn't faze him. So it's like they complement each other and they're aware of that. So here they are. And I think we have a lot that we can learn from this show. Number one, you got the fact that what women want, 5 things. And I think Michael said it. This is the one who wants to be married. He has to be married. That is his ultimate goal. And he's like, my queen, just like, oh, okay, talk to me. And he says the 5 things that we need, every woman, we want to be loved. And what does that look like? What does love look like to you? Is love about money? There's a book out there called 5 Love Languages, and you got to find out what your love language is. If it doesn't make sense for somebody to go buy you a mink coat and your love language is actually a card or affection, you save yourself a lot of money. Think about that. What is your love language? So that's one of the things you really think about. The other thing is respect. What does respect look like? What does respect look like? What does respect look like? What does it mean for somebody to respect you? And so on the show, they have basic understandings of respecting people when they talk, of respecting them, not saying mean things, not interrupting them, not being rude, not being judgmental. And this is because that's their goal. They have one goal in mind, and that is to find love. And they're using whatever they have, whatever the challenge is, they're looking for someone who is going to be compatible with them. So happiness, what makes you happy? So like Ruth and her man, they're engaged. I mean, he proposed, they showed this, and I was just like, and she just hugged him. And even on the show, he said something about, why do you, the interviewer said, why do you like her? And she's like, oh, and he says, I like her for her body. She's like, you like me for my body. And so it's just like real people, but we have hangups. I think that's the best way to look at it. Real people with hangups. And how do you deal with that? A lot of us would say, just go on down the street. We have to have an appreciation for differences. When we can learn to appreciate each other for our differences and just be honest, you have to have open and honest communication. So, and one of the young men, I think his name was, and I don't want to spoil it for you all, but when Maddi went on her first date with Mark, now Mark, he's 29 and he loves dinosaurs, honey. He took her to a museum and he knew so much about dinosaurs. You could just see her expression like, can we go now? So she's thinking, that's not going to float my boat. Now he's a good looking person and he's looking for a life partner, but he's worried he'll never find the right person. But here's the thing, just getting out there is important. And if you can start to look at dating as a way that you're practicing, you're just practicing. You're practicing your skills of communication. You're practicing how you relate to other people. You're practicing your comfort level. Because when Michael was on a date with one of the young women, she became so overwhelmed. He had bought her roses, and his conversation, she kept asking her like all these questions, and all of a sudden she's like, I gotta go. So she gets up and she goes to sit, and he realizes the date is over. Why? Because too many questions for her just sent her into an anxiety. And she couldn't even really look at him when she left. And he had all her roses and just, it was just too much for her. So how they were able to bond is they went to something called Comic-Con, and I've been there before, comic people, and they had a great time. That was an interest that they had, but at the same time, they both were looking for different experiences there, but they went together. They went together. And this whole love on the spectrum, I want you to start thinking about some of your challenges. Maybe you have challenges in your personality, but that shouldn't stop you from learning to communicate, to be honest, right? That shouldn't happen. And then you got to learn to compromise. And that's part of what they're talking about. It's just compartmentalizing. And you know what? Love on the spectrum, they don't even deal with money per se right now. It's just, let's go have a good time. You like me? Would you like to see me again? What if life and love was that simple? What if it was that simple? And then I'm going to start to approach it that way. I'm going to look for a person and say, what do you like to do? Not where you work. What's your 10-year goal plan? And that's intimidating. But some people don't even know what their plan is for the next day. But if we can focus more on the content of a person's character and their ability to communicate with us, then I think we'll all find love. And I don't think it'll take a long time at all. I think it's possible to find love in this unpredictable world, honey. But we have to communicate, we have to be honest, and we have to compromise. And sometimes when those three are your only options, you're better off. Who was it Beyonce, she had a song called to the left, everything you own to the box, in the box to the left, you're replaceable. But the truth of the matter is, you're going to find people that aren't replaceable. You may have dismissed someone who loves you dearly, but because you have the attitude of he or she is replaceable, then you don't value them until they're gone. And sometimes it's too late. So you might want to get that whole thought of replaceable. Now, here's the thing. Why would you want to replace something bad? Now, if somebody's hitting you upside the head, treating you bad, listen, replace. But if the challenge you have is the way you were brought up to see the world and the way that person was brought up to see the world, can't you come together and sit down to understand why the person does what they do? Is it because of a disability? Is it because maybe a religious dogma? I have this funny story. I have a husband, meaning he was my husband. And when we were dating, I know his love language is attention, honey. Okay, attention. And I really don't need somebody all up under me. That's just not my thing, because I feel claustrophobic. I know right now with COVID-19, some of y'all broke up relationships. Y'all like, we're done, we're finished, it's over. Yeah. But he came to my house and knocked on the door, and I opened the door to invite him in, and he goes, and I'm like, why are you, he just started staring at me. And I'm like, why are you still at the door? And he says, when my daddy came home from work, my mother greeted him at the door with a kiss. Now, I'm thinking he's pushy, but that's what he saw. So what I said to him was, well, when my grandmother came home, she told us, go get those groceries out of that car. It was all in what we saw growing up. Now, we didn't last because there were some other issues there that even came out in counseling. We were told no, and we did it anyway. So I can't say it was the devil. We were hard-headed. And maybe perhaps how we took some time to really get to know each other, and his pet peeves and his quirks, and to see if it's something I wanted to deal with. Could I put up with that behavior? Sometimes we just don't listen. Sometimes it's not even worth it all, is it? So I want you to just go ahead and give yourself some time to really think about, what are the top 3 things that you believe that are necessary for you to find love in this uncertain, this world right now, especially with coronavirus. So women having laundry lists. He got to be 6'5", He need to make six figures. He need his own business. See, we're talking about things on the outside of the person. Yeah, you want somebody that's driven. You want somebody that's goal oriented. But when you start saying, well, he got to have six figures. So the question is, what type of lifestyle do you have? What type of lifestyle have you become accustomed to? And how much is it going to be to maintain that lifestyle? And here's the thing. It takes two to tango. So sometimes it takes two people to provide that lifestyle. So you have to understand that. You know, when was the last time you drove around and started thinking about what kind of house you want? Do you have to have this huge, enormous house? The other day I was driving. I said, God, I really want something that's really comfortable. It's quaint. It has a lot of detail, but it's homey. When you walk in, you just feel love. At one point, I thought I wanted one of these big old 300, 500, $1,000 homes. That isn't going to help me. I get so overwhelmed. In fact, I pay a personal organizer because I literally freeze. My body starts to hurt. I shut down because I've carried too much. So I've made a commitment to myself just this week that I'm getting rid of everything that no longer serves me, be it a dress, be it a book, be it a video. And sometimes it's because when you grow up poor, you know, you're kind of holding on to stuff. So that's why you really need to look at, you know, what did you see that was modeled for you in a relationship? And is it working? Why would you repeat something that's not working? And that's what I really love about the show. It shows you how to identify when something doesn't work. And dating is about practice. And the thing about it, when these people connect, they're connecting because they connected. It has nothing to do with a car. It has nothing to do with what college did you go to. No, it's I like dinosaurs. So now this person really is into dinosaurs. If you don't care about dinosaurs and that's all the person wants to talk about, then you're kind of like, we can be friends, you know, because that's going to drive you crazy, right? Or if you go out with somebody and they're just talking about stuff and you're just like, oh my God. And that's what happened to Michael on the show. It was so funny. He's like grabbing his keys. He's just like this. And the woman, you know, she couldn't tell. She just knew we ain't going out anymore. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day. Delores Jones is my name. Go ahead and like the video. Can you like the video, share the video, and subscribe to my channel? This is me, honey, in living color, naked and not ashamed. And that's what love is all about. Love is about learning to be naked and not ashamed and find out where you are and who's there with you. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? I think it's great. All right. I think we're going to finish this up today. I hope you'll come back and join me. And for those of you that have already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I so appreciate you. I appreciate you so much because you don't have to do it. But you did. Yes, you did. So come on back when you want to pick me up, when you need some motivation, when you need some insight on how to make it right. That's what this channel is about. Here, it's insight on how to make it right, how to make the right moves in your life, how to make the right moves in your career. Because all of this stuff is about relationships. This is about how do you make the right moves. And if you meet somebody and say, I need to make some right moves, I need to make some different moves. You bet, girl, you need to watch Delores Jones, the comeback coach. Now, what does she do? I help you bounce back better, not bitter, through life experiences and bad decisions. And Lord knows, I've made a lot of them. But it's okay. It's okay if you learn the lesson. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.